the King of Kings. On your knees, dog. All hail. Bow down to the King. Bow down to the King in red.
And away we go for week 2 of the Smart Check. I am your host, the Smark of Smarks Taylor of Owen W. And despite what many people were hoping for, I wasn't fired last week. No, in fact, Duncan and Owen want me to keep doing what I'm doing, and that is pointing out everything they got wrong. Seems like I'm something I'm good at. And for some reason, this week again, I have to point out something that Duncan said wrong first. And that is that the Smart Check isn't to say I'm better than Duncan and Owen. That's pretty obvious when I schooled them back in episode 9. Go check that out. I embarrassed both of them when I was allowed in studio, and I haven't been allowed back. I wonder why that is. But the Smart Check is my attempt to raise Owen and Duncan up to my level. Or as close as they could ever hope to come, really. I am sorry that I will not be having 5 to 10 minutes of squirrel talk on this. I know it was riveting to listen to them talk about some fucking squirrel, but I'm sorry, I'm going to get right into the wrestling. And the first thing that I want to talk about is Owen talking about he wasn't quite sure about the Elimination Chamber. I brought up, there's talks that the Elimination Chamber could be brought back instead of Fastlane in February. Is why I put Finn Balor in there, because my hope is that he will be back. So, a little bit about the Elimination Chamber. The creation of the Elimination Chamber was actually an idea by Triple H, but on screen they gave it as a brainchild of Eric Bischoff back in 2002 for Survivor Series, back when they had the other brand split. Now, the way they kind of sold this was that it would be 6 superstars, 10 tons of steel, 36 feet across, 16 feet high, and 11 miles of chain wrapped around the frame. It would be a cage match like nothing you'd ever seen before. No Hell in the Cell, no old school cage. There would be chain link on the ground to slam people on. It featured Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kane, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, and Chris Jericho. It was for the World Heavyweight Championship, and HBK won the first ever Elimination Chamber match with the weirdest haircut I've ever seen him have and shit brown tights that he never wore again, and thank God for that. Now, as I was saying, Triple H was the actual architect, can't believe I said that word, of the Elimination Chamber, so surprise, surprise that he has competed in it more than any man in 6, and he actually holds the most victories in them in 4. So they're pretty right that if you put Triple H in the Elimination Chamber, he's probably going to win it. So that's why, in fantasy booking, maybe keep him away from there. Owen, however, was wrong in the fact that there actually has been a tag team Elimination Chamber. In fact, it was not during Owen's dark period at all. It was in 2015. There was a tag team Elimination Chamber in the pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber. It featured tag team champions, The New Day. Obviously, it was 2015. They were tag team champions almost the entire time. The Lucha Dragons, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, the Primetime Players, the Ascension, and the Masked Shining Stars, then known as Los Matadores, with their little bull. And of course, as we all know, as they always do, New Day walked out as tag team champions because why wouldn't they? Oh. And I am one of those people that is souring on the New Day. I'm sorry. Their stuff is played out. It's over. Fucking do something else with them. Also, the event had Ryback winning an Elimination Chamber match to claim the Intercontinental Championship after Daniel Bryan relinquished it, and that was from the injury that eventually retired him. Something that I feel like Owen should have remembered about this was that it was the main roster debut of Kevin Owens when he defeated John Cena clean in the ring. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, so Owen wanted to talk about the championships of Chris Jericho. Last week we were asking about Sean Waltman, X-Pac 6, 123 Kid, whatever you want to call him. And this week I'll give you the gift of the title history of Jericho. He is a one-time ECW World Television Champion. He's a four-time WCW Cruiserweight Champion, a one-time WCW Television Champion. He's held the WWF European Championship once, the WWF Hardcore Championship once. He is a seven-time Tag Team Champion in the WWE. He is a nine-time WWE Intercontinental Champion. That's actually a record for most title reigns. And he is a six-time world champion with different variations, whether it's the WCW world title when it was there, the undisputed title, the world heavyweight title, whatever you want to call it. He's held the biggest championship in the company six times. But also, he was the first undisputed champion. He was the ninth man to win a triple crown in WWE. He was the fourth man to become a Grand Slam champion. He won a Slammy for Tag Team of the Year with Big Show in 2009, and he was Slammy Wrestler of the Year in 2008. And since we're talking about the former member of Jericho, Owen was kind of fumbling around about what disease Big Show had. So Big Show has something that's called acromegaly. Yeah, I know. I'm not a science guy. I'm a wrestling guy. Give me a break. But basically what it is there's a problem with the pituitary gland, and it continues growing. Your body continues to grow after all of your growth plates have set, which is what makes most of us stop growing. It is the same thing that Andre the Giant had. However, in 1991, Big Show had surgery on his pituitary gland to stop the growing. And that's why he's still able to be much more mobile than Andre ever was, and why he's expected to live much longer. But this brings up something else. This doesn't have anything to do with facts. Well, to me, it is a fact. And that is the insult that Big Show had to deal with on this last podcast. And that is, there's no comparison between Andre the Giant and Big Show. There isn't. I'm sorry, there isn't. Owen, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This guy was an ex-college basketball player, noted as one of the most athletic big men ever in the history of wrestling. In WCW, he did a missile dropkick off the top rope. Still to this day, he throws regular dropkicks. Andre the Giant's big moments were being body slammed. Big Show's taking power bombs, perfect plexes, attitude adjustments, and F5s. Andre the Giant should always be respected. I'm never going to say that he's not. He is the quintessential big man. He is, the first man to ever be in the WWF's Hall of Fame. He has all these great things. But he was a special event paraded around as a wrestler. Big Show was a wrestler, a good wrestler. He was good on the mic. He had good matches, not good moments in matches, not the slam heard around the world. He set up good matches, and that needs to be noted, and that needs respect. Let's see, where else did Owen mess up? I always love pointing out where Owen messes up. Duncan, he has little skips here and there, but Owen, let's talk about... let's talk about where Owen says that they can't or they don't or whatever push secondary storylines with women in SmackDown. They do. One of the biggest storylines right now going, I don't know if I call it biggest really, but a second storyline's been going since SummerSlam is this Nikki Bella versus Carmella thing. They've brought in Natty and Naomi to be tag teams but they've been pushing this since SummerSlam. Is it entertaining? No, it is shitty, but it's definitely them trying to do more than one storyline at a time, which is really more than I can say for even Raw. They've got their main storyline. They've got little hints of other storylines like Dana Brooke kind of in the background and Nia Jax here and there, but this is the only real solid attempt at a real storyline involving women that has nothing to do with any type of championship. Okay, let's talk about this. I can't believe I'm even talking about stem cells. Really, Owen, I can't believe you're making me talk about this. But Owen was asking about an article that I gave him about Finn Balor getting stem cell injections. I have a lot of wrestling knowledge. I mean a lot. Obviously way more than anybody else that you'll hear on Oh No Wrestling. But health science is not something I know too well. I've played a lot of sports in my life. I still watch a lot of sports, and I do listen to other podcasts that talk about stem cells treatment. Most notably, I listen to a lot of the Joe Rogan Experience, where he's actually had these stem cell injections, so he talks very highly of them. So I'll tell you what I can understand for the basics. From what I understand, they inject stem cells into the recovering area. For Finn, it would be his shoulder. Because the stem cells can become any cell in your body, what it's supposed to do is decrease the time of recovery. Your body can only really produce so many cells a day as it's regenerating. But when you inject other cells that can become those cells, then means, your body can only do X. But if you put in another 10,000 cells, that's an extra 10,000 that day that we would have had to wait another 5 to 10 days. So these injections can actually cut recovery time almost in half. Athletes from every major sport have used these treatments for the last 10 years. Mostly, I've heard about the treatments being light years ahead in Germany, which wouldn't be too surprising if that's where Finn's at, being that he's makes his home in Ireland. All in all, I'd say Vince really wants Finn back, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to get him back. And I've heard amazing stories about how stem cell can cut recovery time, but I'm not an expert in this, so all I can do is be a wrestling fan and hope that what I was hoping for, which was him coming back in the Rumble, is closer now that he's got these stem cell treatments and that he's working 24/7. Really, I think I've hit every big point that I need to cover. So, last week, I went out on a song for Owen, and this time, Duncan, I got together some of your little squirrel friends and thought we'd go out on a song to show some respect to a man Owen obviously hasn't done for. I'll see you guys next week.